Welcome to the Riverfront Bengals Show, episode 39, still on the air. I don't know why, but I'm still having a whole hell of a lot of fun. How's everybody doing? I guess this will be Thursday morning when you all get this in your feeds. I am Joe Farsing. That stunning gentleman to my left, screen right, Tim Daniel. Tim, how are you, sir?
What's up, Joe? I can't believe I'm over here. By the way, I have to real quick before you move on give you credit because last night on Twitter, you got me really good. That was pretty funny. Thank God my wife had no idea what I was laughing at.
Did you at least get the, I mean.
Oh, I totally, yeah. So
I
was tweeting real quick crossing the street coming from the ballpark. So I thought nothing of it. And then I get back to my car and I look at my phone and I'm like, I just see like everything. I'm like, all right, I deserve that.
So for those, and I won't go into everything, he was just giving like the record while he went to his first game with his newborn yesterday, or newish born, right?
Yeah, but just about 5 months. Yeah.
Okay. And also happy belated Father's Day, your first Father's Day.
Thank you.
Awesome feeling. But he was giving his record, giving the record in the games that his wife attended, and it was just worded very precarious. And I couldn't leave it hanging. It was just the sweet alley-oop that I had to.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
You had to dunk on him. You had to.
Yeah, I literally said like I walked right into that one.
It's one of those that while I'm typing it out, I'm laughing to myself. My wife is probably looking at me because we're just laying in bed, wondering why I'm chuckling, staring at my phone. So, besides all that, how's everything in the Daniel household?
Everything's great, man. The Red Legs are on an 11-game win streak. Late Night Reds is killing it, like we always do, and the Riverfront is the place to be.
You got it. And if you're not at the Riverfront, the other place you need to be, the gentleman below the two of us, Jeff Trennepohl, a.k.a. Strawberry Ice. Jeff, so happy to have you join us this week. How are you, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on. I had you on last week. We had a good time, and I'm ready to be part of the Riverfront. And yes, Tim, 11 games in a row. The Reds, it's a thing. It's a thing. How cool is it that we have all three of our professional teams really freaking good right now? I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Yeah, that, I'm 34, respectfully, not to. So like
I'm
this
48.
Is like,
it's okay.
This is the best like collaboration of sports I've seen in this city, really, like in my lifetime. So,
I'm 48. This is the best collaboration of sports I've seen in my lifetime. I mean, I've seen the Reds win the World Series. I saw the Bearcats go to the Final Four, and that's it. I mean, yeah, technically, yes, I was alive in 75 and 76, but I was a baby. I don't remember it. So
I was one when in 90. So I'm with you.
I remember 90. 90 was awesome. I love 90.
yeah, absolutely. Before we get going here, and we'll touch on the Reds here in just a second. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you follow us on YouTube, Tim, if you wanna cover that a little bit better, that was your baby.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So check us out on YouTube over at youtube.com/riverfrontcincy. We got a nice solid contest going for new subscribers.
I saw
so get a chance to get a couple free tickets on the Riverfront for the Giants series. The Giants team who's also playing incredibly well right now. So they have the second longest win streak in baseball. The first one is the Reds. But over there, you can check that out. And then we got me, we got Nate and Chad over there, killing it on the Riverfront home. Is that what we call it? I don't know what we really call it.
I call it the OG.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah. So, and yeah, I mean, if you guys are watching or listening to me, chances are you guys are all very familiar with everybody else. I mean, I'm kind of the bastard stepchild here of the Riverfront, but I know my place and I still have fun regardless.
You were here before me.
I thought it'd be me.
Well, I was here under the Riverfront. I was here under the Riverfront umbrella before you. However, you're following your fandom. You have legions of faithful followers.
Is that
I have like two people that don't live under my roof that really care about how I'm doing. So,
well, it's my first time on the Riverfront, so I'm enjoying being the new guy on the block here.
Absolutely.
But you're an honorary Riverfront member. We have a lot of guys like Chad and Nate both live in Virginia, so we need more actual local Cincinnatians to, represent.
I'm on the side of town, the west side, so
We've got everything covered. I mean, we've got east side, west side, south side.
Yeah, Northern Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, we got Jimmy on the other side of the creek, so I mean, we're well represented.
Got it all covered.
Exactly. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, how about the Reds? Again, we're a Bengal-centric show, but I mean, I can't talk about it enough. I mean, Tim, you get to talk every week about it. Jeff, you get to talk just about every day. I don't get to talk about the Reds enough. Did any of you guys see this coming at all?
So
Be honest.
So no, not to this extent.
Okay.
I talked to on Thursday. I talked to Chad. When I was Tuesday after Joey's return game. After Monday, whatever day it was one of those.
They're running together now after 11 straight.
Yeah,
forget what
right,
day it is.
exactly. And I said I was higher on this team than most, but I thought my higher on this team was I think they can win 78, 79 games, and that's a successful year. To be at the end of June in first place on an 11-game win streak was far, far, far from my imagination. But I'm happy, obviously. Joe, I feel bad because, like you said, I talk about the Reds every week, and you don't get as much time to do it, so I don't want to take it from you. But it's been awesome.
Well, if you're asking me before Joe jumps in, I could say that I did not think we would be anywhere close to this. I will be honest. I thought next year we might be better. I thought it all depended on how the three starting pitchers went: Hunter Green, Lodolo, Ashcraft. Boy, was I wrong, because they haven't been around much except for Hunter Green, and he just went on the disabled list. To have all four of these youngsters come up and play like they're playing, and us to be a game and a half up in first place in the NL Central is freaking ridiculous. I had no clue at all. I thought it'd be, 2024, 2025. Hell, we can go to playoffs this year. You could.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's not inconceivable to think that. I know Tim, Chad, and I were on with you before the season, and I know we all made record guesses, and we were all pretty optimistic. I mean, everyone was saying this team is going to lose over 100 games because they didn't have any of the horses for any of the season that they at least had Castillo and Tyler Mahle for part of the season last year. I think we all came in with 70 plus wins, so we were comparatively. I mean, we were well over the over under for the wins. This season is playing out how I hoped it would, as in letting the kids play, don't let anyone block them. But yeah, I didn't expect that letting the kids play means we're going to win, because these players are just good. I mean, they're ready to play. I mean, Spencer
let
Steer,
them dominate.
I was kind of forward. Yeah, exactly. Fangraphs had Spencer Steer as leading the team in projecting him leading the team in WAR for the season. And I'm like, that's pretty optimistic. I mean, the guy's going to be a good hitter, but is he going to be better than whoever? I mean, India's a little more established. I thought Will Myers was going to have a moment before he got traded at the deadline. I mean, if you remember, I picked him to lead the team in home runs while being traded at the All-Star break. Clearly, he's like 10th on the team in home runs, and now he's gone. But yeah, I mean, they were right on with Spencer Steer. He doesn't look like a rookie. I mean, everyone forgets because he was here day one. I mean, he came up last year. He's still a rookie. He's probably second in the Rookie of the Year, and he's not going to win the Rookie of the Year because Corbin Carroll's kind of running away with it. I mean, that dude's
he's kind of awesome.
Yeah, that dude.
He's amazing. But again, you bring up Matt McClain, and his approach is like just like a 5-year veteran.
Yeah.
Again, aggressive as hell on the bases. He's looking to make this. He gets hosed a lot because he's like 4'2", and the tall end of the strike zone, like something that's 5 inches above the strike zone for him, is belt level for anybody else. So he keeps getting that high strike called on him. But I mean, he's an absolute.
Can I say something about the strike zone today? Did you either one of you guys get to watch it?
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah. I was doing a live stream on the game. That Mahle, the catcher, got 2 strikes. Well, 3 pitches right here. 2 of them were strikes, and 1 of them was a ball in the exact same spot. I'm like, what in the world are you looking at? That umpire was awful.
When John Sadak, who normally kind of is go with the flow, is even like, oh, come on, man. Like,
right.
Dude, I
Because
kind
that
of
was
changed my mind. I kind of changed my mind. I'm almost for robo umps now. If they're gonna call balls and strikes like that, that's just ridiculous.
It's funny you say this, Ice, because so last Thursday I covered the bats. I went down, worked a game, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in AAA they do the robo umps, where basically the umpire's job is strictly to say, like, they said that was a ball, they said that was a strike, and you could tell even then it wasn't perfect, because at one point Michael Ciani strikes out and he looks at the umpire to be like, "Are you kidding me?" And the umpire goes,
like, I didn't do
it. Yeah.
That's one for umpires to get out of it going, I didn't call it.
Right. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at RoboCop up there.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so seeing it in person, obviously, I mean, it needs to get fine tuned, and it will before they implement it. How do you know? How do you feel about it long term? I mean, I think it's going to be a thing by 2025.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I don't think it was a bad thing. I thought that, like you said, it definitely needs some fine tuning. And I was actually like in the room with the guy who works for Major League Baseball, and his job is to place them like on the at bat thing, like the game day tab. And he was kind of like, I was like, how do you like kind of keep up with this? And like, and he's like, I have to wait like 10 seconds, like sometimes like 10 seconds after the call to be made to make sure I put it in the right place. So it's like it was pretty fascinating, but yeah, I thought it was cool. You don't really know a difference once the pitch is thrown. It's not like, like with the pitch clock where you're like, I think we're kind of at the point where at watching the game we're adjusted to the pitch clock now, right? It's almost July.
Unless they call it, that's about the only time you notice it.
Yeah. That's sometimes it's kind of exciting when that happens. So
who was it? Was it the pitcher? Was the batter not set?
Yeah, like which one was it?
What was the clock?
Yeah, what did Joey say the other night? I want to lead the league in least amount of violations.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to call for any violations. I'm going to be ready.
And then his first at bat, he gets that standing ovation. So it's like he wasn't in the box, all right.
But one thing, I'll give shout out to the Rockies catcher though.
That was awesome.
So cool. Yeah, for him to step out and let Votto have that moment. And shout out to the Reds fans. Because guys, I wore the Joey Votto jersey. I'm like the Canadian. I started calling him the Canadian Cowboy because of the Cowboys red outfit he wore and everything. But he's Joey Votto. And I was like, everybody's like, wow, he's gonna mess things up. I'm like, he's Joey freaking Votto. He's not gonna come back unless he's 100%. He's gonna fit in. And then he goes and hits a home run in his second at bat. The first one, the velo was over 100 miles an hour off the bat. I'm like, come on, people, it's Joey Votto. But I mean, shout out to the crowd there who gave him a standing ovation. And he's a Hall of Famer, guys. I mean, you're witnessing history when you watch him bat. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. And what it is if the home team or whatever team kind of lets the umpire know ahead of time, hey, listen, we're expecting, because there was an issue and I can't remember who it was. Somebody was returning. I don't know if it was Bellinger to someone was returning back to a place where they played a lot of their career, and they got called for a violation because they weren't in the box because they were getting an ovation. But the umpire, if he's kind of prompted beforehand, he'll take some time. He'll step out. He won't start it until Right. But clearly, I mean, the Reds said something, gave him the heads up that, hey, listen, Joey's, we're expecting Joey's going to get a nice warm ovation. And then, Diaz stepping out, just kind of walking in front of the mat, so that was kudos on all those involved. Kudos to the fans. I mean, that was
awesome.
Bigger. Yeah. I mean, social media is such an awful, terrible place. I don't recommend it for anybody, but you see the crap that people were saying about Votto. Oh, he should be retired. He's stealing. Like, people say that when he was at the peak of his ability. I mean,
but he was hitting 30 homers and 100 RBIs, and people are like, oh, he's not earning his money. Like,
right.
Which game are you watching?
Right.
Yeah.
2021, he had a 139 OPS plus, 39% better than the average hitter. And then he was hurt all last season. He had a torn bicep and a jacked up shoulder. And he was still cranked 12. 89. Yeah, he still had an 89 OPS plus. He was still just 10%, 11% worse than the average hitter with one arm. Oh, by the way, you need your left arm as a left-handed hitter to swing the bat.
He walks too much. He walks like, get on base. That's the whole point.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The idea is not getting outs.
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously, he'd rather hit a line drive in the gap or over the fence, but if it's swinging some crap 6 inches off the plate to hit a dribbler, to advance the runner from second to third, or take a walk so the next guy has 2 guys on, he's going to take a walk because he's a smart man.
Exactly. I'm getting old. I woke up and my shoulder hurts for no reason whatsoever other than I slept.
Welcome to my life, man. I feel ya.
Don't get old. Don't get old.
I threw batting practice to 10 kids yesterday. As no other parents / coaches showed up, so I'm ice and ibuprofen, and I'm still feeling it.
My shoulder will be on the ground.
Yeah, I'm been dragging it all day. I'm like, ugh. So, is Cincinnati sports town USA? Never. I mean, obviously, Bengals Super Bowl contenders. They made the Super Bowl 2 years ago. They were AFC, in the AFC Championship game last year. Reds are. I mean, the Reds are never, even when they're down, they're still never irrelevant here in Cincinnati. I mean, there's still enough old timers that'll gladly wax poetically about the Big Red Machine, and even though there's still a handful of guys that will talk about Klazuski, Frank Robinson, those guys. FC Cincinnati, they're on a 13-14 match undefeated streak right now.
Yeah, I think if they win tonight, they break the record for the most home wins. I think that's what it is tonight.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they have 1 loss in the season, and that was a road tilt against St. Louis, and then 4 draws. UC football was in college football playoffs less than 18 months ago. UC basketball, Xavier basketball, Northern Kentucky, like those are all good basketball programs. I mean, Northern Kentucky, like when they jumped up to to Division I, they immediately started making an impact, and they're competitive every season. Dayton is one of the best college basketball just one of the best college basketball programs in terms of fan support in the entire country. I was so pissed that they got skipped over. That too. I mean, with the tournament during the COVID year, but when the Big East realigned, Dayton fits perfectly with those schools.
Absolutely,
they're a Catholic school with a huge basketball background. Why did they get skipped over for like Creighton? Creighton doesn't fit footprint. First of all, it's you where the hell out in Omaha.
Right.
And that doesn't matter anymore.
Well, right. Obviously. They're very clearly.
Look at the Big 12 where the Bearcats are going.
Exactly.
USC is going to have like 11:30 kickoffs against Rutgers soon. Like,
USC and UCLA are going to be in the Big 10. What the hell?
Yeah. But I mean, this is also just a basketball conference too. That I mean, it would make sense for them. Again, geographically, just as a rival for Xavier. I mean, it just made so much sense, and I was just kind of I'm not a Dayton fan, but I'm an admirer of their program, and it kind of stung a little bit. Like they fit completely in with the rest of these schools, and you guys are kind of they're close enough to the Cincinnati market that it's not adding a ton of but viewers, I guess, or
I wouldn't steal anything from Xavier because if you're a Dayton fan, you're a Dayton fan. You're not watching both.
Right. And Xavier doesn't have a huge draw outside of Cincinnati.
Right.
So I cover, so me being credentialed for all 3 schools, being Xavier, Cincinnati, and Northern, like the one thing I hear the most from the Xavier fan base is like, we wish we were still playing Dayton every year.
Yeah.
And so I'm with you. Yeah. I a million percent. I think the school, personally, I think the athletic department would absolutely love to bring that game back from the people I know there.
Yeah.
But I also think that there's something where the administrations are the ones that are kind of holding it ransom.
Yeah. And that's, Xavier, I don't think Xavier wants, administration. I think Xavier doesn't want them like as an administrator, wouldn't want them because they play in a tough conference. Why would they want to, add another rivalry game against a regional team that, at least with Xavier, I'm a huge UC fan, but Xavier owns UC. I'm not going to pretend otherwise.
Unfortunately, yes.
It defies absolute any sort of explanation. I mean,
that's got to change soon. That's got to change.
It's not.
It's so weird. I don't understand it. I mean, how many times does UC come in not even unquestioned as the better program, and Xavier just beats him? I mean, it's like Xavier just takes it. I don't want to say takes it more serious, but it's like UC doesn't take it as serious. And that's kind of why I'm glad that I think Wes Miller is going to at least make it a more competitive series.
He
And
will.
again, like winning a rivalry game, this isn't the 1940s. It's not, not like winning the rivalry game is the important thing. I mean, you want to win conference championships, you want to get in the big dance. But there's still a whole huge portion of the fan base, especially with a huge inner city rival, that wants to be able to hold that over, Norwood Tech's heads for 12 months until the next game.
Yes, I would like to stop hearing from my Xavier friends about how they own us. I would really like to not have those texts come at me anymore.
Well, don't get my number then.
It's like Ohio State, Michigan. I mean, they're rivals, but I mean, Michigan's finally starting to punch back. But I mean, are you really a rival when you lose year after year after year?
Kentucky and Louisville might be a better sample there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because there's but I mean, half of my family went to Xavier. The other half went to UC. I followed UC, so obviously my loyalties. But they need to turn that around. But again, I mean, is Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati's got to be one of the top 2 or 3 sports cities in the country, right?
Right now, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. They had a listing I saw a few months ago about the most. It might have been the main 4 or the big 4: baseball, basketball, football, hockey. Pro athletes to come from those from cities in those 4 sports, and Cincinnati was in the top 20, and Cincinnati is nowhere near the 20th largest city. Cincinnati's like the 70th largest city. I mean, there's only 300,000 people live in city proper, and yet they've got as many pro athletes as like Philadelphia. These cities that are like 3-4 times larger.
What would you ranked like one of the most livable cities, or top 10 most cities people wanted to move to, or something like that? I thought I heard that too a couple months ago.
There's a lot. I mean, Cincinnati is a city. I mean, I could be president of the Chamber of Commerce.
I love Cincinnati. I'm a Cincinnati homer. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've never lived anywhere else, but I mean,
and the thing is, Cincinnati, they always cut it. It could be bigger because if you could count Northern Kentucky, part of Indiana, I mean, it's actually bigger than what is registered because of the river.
Yeah, I mean, there's 300,000 people that live in the city, and there's 2.2 million people in the metro area, plus 800,000 people, almost 1 million people up in Dayton that live 40 minutes away that aren't even considered part of the area. And there's a ton of people here. It's a lot, but it's this is a golden era, shall we say? And I don't want to miss it because I don't know how many more of these eras I'm going to have left in my life. So my kid I've got a kid starting high school, and he's right in the prime era to enjoy it. So, dude, don't take it for granted, because clearly it's not going to happen too often. So,
it's a lot of fun.
It is.
What's that?
No, it is. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'm hoping it keeps going. I mean, the Reds are only going to get better. I mean, the Bengals are kind of at that level, and there's no reason to think that they're going to step down from it anytime soon. I mean,
the funny thing with the Reds and the Bengals right now is they almost have too much talent and not enough spots.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Depth is a good thing. I mean, you keep as many guys as you can, and you try to keep guys in reserve if need be. But yeah, I'm happy to see useful guys being cut, and not for being sent packing, and not for financial reasons, but because there's just no spot for them. And that tells you something.
Well, that's what I was telling people too. Is like on my show, when the Bengals started getting better, like, oh, it's the same old Bengals. Like, no, it's not. They're doing things different. They don't do this anymore. And people are like, with the Reds, like, okay, well, they get all these guys coming up, everything. Oh, they're not going to pay anybody. I was like, well, they just signed Hunter Green. They cut Moustakas, owe him money. They just cut Will Myers. I mean, they owe him money. So it ain't the same. Are they going to keep everybody? I doubt it, but you're not going to have to, because of all the talent we got in the minor leagues that are coming up behind them. Look like this isn't going to stop. So
yeah, they seem to have figured something out on player development, and at least it looks to be from this end. I mean, if you want to get excited, and again, prospects are just guys that haven't done anything yet, but go look at the Reds' top 30 prospects on MLB.com and then pull up their stats. There's so many of them that are in the bottom half of that list that are just absolutely tearing the ball, or tearing the cover off the ball. Go look at some of the guys down at Dayton. Some of the pitchers, they got a couple of hitters, and it's like, wow, man.
And I was throwing Reese Hines in all my mock trades, and now it's like, oh, Reese Hines is crushing it. So maybe I should revoke that.
Yeah, maybe he's going to be a dude again. I mean, he has a lot of talent. He struggled to stay healthy, and he struggles to make contact with the ball, but hopefully he'll figure it out and get on the right track. Hey, we are a Bengals related show. I would say we do a little bit of Bengals news and notes.
Let's do it.
It's been a couple weeks since we've been on here, but that doesn't mean there's been a whole hell of a lot going on. Mandatory workouts ended last week. Everyone was in attendance. Fingers crossed Joe Burrow can make it from this point until open a training camp. He's yet to have a normal training camp. His rookie year was COVID. Second year, knee surgery. Last year, rehab from the knee surgery. Last year, everything was fine and dandy until, your appendix is going to burst, and we're going to have you stay in a hospital for 2 weeks and lose 20 pounds right before, 3 weeks before the season starts. So fingers crossed. Let's get to day one of training camp, show up, and just don't get hurt. Also, between Joe Burrow thirst trap pictures that the Bengals keep putting up and Sam Hubbard, I'm glad I'm not single. There is no chance any woman would choose me if those dudes were readily available. Joe Burrow is handsome. He's athletic. He's talented. He's charismatic. I have none of those qualities.
And now he's jacked. Jacked.
Exactly. Holy smokes, man. He has not missed arm day.
He went from jackpot Joey to jacked pot Joey.
Yeah, he's swolsively Burrow right now.
Yeah.
He brought out the gun show, and I'm glad none of those qualities interest my wife, or at least didn't 20
That's what you look at
years ago when we started dating.
All this is yours, honey. Just remember that. All this is yours.
Did you guys hear Jonah Burrow spoke? Jonah Burrow. That's Joe's cousin.
Is that a new guy on the team?
He's the new right tackle. He's taking Jonah Williams' spot. Did you guys know Jonah Williams spoke last week?
I heard about it a little bit, but then I didn't know the full details because until you sent notes over. But
so he was he's in good spirits. He's ready to compete. I mean, he looks in fantastic shape. He played last year on jacked up kneecaps. I mean, he dislocated one, dislocated one, came back 2 games later and dislocated the other one. Those are weird injuries to have, and then to have 2 separate ones, or to both your knees in the same season is awful. But he's motivated. I think he's gonna crush it at right tackle.
Absolutely.
He was upset that the team didn't communicate with him over the whole Orlando Brown thing.
Ever. They never talked to him.
Exactly. I understand not much communication. No one's saying hey, we're looking to upgrade, because they had zero idea that Brown was going to be available. He literally fell into their laps and they had to pull the trigger. I get that. I do think that there should have been a call from Duke saying, hey, listen, I know this kind of caught you off guard. We think you're going to be a strength at right tackle. We're just trying to upgrade across the board. It's kind of surprising that nobody reached out to him. Is that fair, unfair? What do you guys think? You with that, Timmy?
Yeah, I think the right thing to do is have a conversation, especially because now you're starting to hear more and more of the Bengals doing the right things by their players. So I think that really matters. I get it's a business. I'm sure he gets it's a business. I'm sure, even with the injuries, I'm sure he understands he didn't play as well as we all wanted him to, thought he would, these past throughout the season last year. So, I see both sides of it, but yeah, just a simple hey man, look, we have a shot through Orlando Brown and we can't let this go. We've got to pursue this. And I think everything works well.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. They weren't looking to upgrade to left tackle. They were looking to upgrade to right tackle and keep Jonah at left. All indications. And then Orlando decided to call him and say, hey, I want to play for you guys. Well, of course the Bengals were yes. And then he took actually less money. He took the biggest bonus or upfront money ever, but the contract is actually less. Basically, they paid Jesse Bates. Now they have Orlando Brown. So I understand where they didn't really have time to call him and say, heads up, we're going to sign Orlando. We're going to be the right tackle. But afterwards, this has happened in March. It's June. Still hadn't talked to him. So I understand why he's upset, but I love what he said. He goes, it'll be nice, but I'm here to do my job. I'm here to win a championship. I'm all in. He goes, because they asked him, are you going to be able to play right tackle? He goes, well, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it so I can play right tackle, Yeah. So, he's all in as far as playing that guy. And one thing I said on my show, and I think you and me talked about this, Joe, is when, speaking things into fruition, when Jonah could play right tackle well, and then he goes hits the market. If he's proving he can play right tackle well and left tackle well, all that does is increase his value. Now, do I think the Bengals are going to re-sign him? Right, exactly. Do I think the Bengals will re-sign him? No. I think the future right tackle is Jax Carman. That's next year. Just saying, that's the way it's lining up. I mean, hopefully they sign Jonah, but I said this from the get-go. Jonah just needs to get his ass over there, play right tackle, and we're going to have the best offensive line we've had since 2015.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, you have Orlando Brown, Jonah Williams, Ted Karras, Alex Kappa, Cordell Volson. That's better than what the Kansas City Chiefs have. I'm
Leo
sorry.
Collins is still going to be back at some point.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's another good point. I'll ask both of you guys this because I've brought this up. Now, the reason the Bengals have lost the AFC Championship game last year and they lost the Super Bowl is the offensive line because we had injuries. And I know we upgraded, but we still had injuries going into it. We lost three guys last year. We lost a right tackle the year before that. Do you think they keep Lael as a backup coach? You can put him on the PUP list at the beginning of the season, and you keep him there. If you bring Lael Collins in and your jumbo package, you got Lael and you got Jonah on one side, and you're going to run the ball. That's pretty damn good. I mean, and the depth there. That's just. I mean, it's a lot of money. I don't know if they're going to do it, but that's one thing. What's your guys' thoughts? You think they'll keep him, or do you think they want to trade him?
I'll take that, Timmy.
Go ahead, Tim.
I could try. Like I said, this is not my area of expertise.
That's what I'm letting you take it first before I show you.
I was going to say, yeah.
Completely off base.
You go first, Tim.
Stick to the Reds in college basketball.
Joe killed me enough last night. He's got to kill me now. So I think they're going to want to. I mean, I think the more talent, the better, right? Especially in a situation where they've been weak for, you mentioned probably since 2015, realistically.
Right.
Nah, those like last years of Whitworth to the guys he was playing with the offensive line weren't exactly inspiring. And all the things that went wrong, with like the guys they traded for, they thought were good moves, and you name it. Such a good boy.
Cordy Glenn.
That's the heartbreaker right there. Because I thought when they made that trade, I was like, that's a great trade.
Yeah, that's a smart move. That's a winning organizational move.
Except he was a dumbass.
Yeah.
The problem.
So I think they're gonna hope to. I mean, especially like you said, Jeff, you can kind of put him on the PUP list for a little bit, so it's not gonna hurt your 53 man. And then you kind of see where he's at week 6. Like, hey, is this worth it? And he was just over there when Joey was hitting dingers at GABP. He was there taking grounders at first base, so feels like he's part of the team in his eyes. So
there you go.
Yeah, I mean, he looks fantastic for where he is in his rehab. I think if they were going to cut him, they would have done it already.
Yes.
Because, I mean, it would have made sense to do it. Listen, then you can go work out and sign with some team, when you're healthy. I mean, be a midseason replacement. I mean, there'd be a huge market somewhere around week 8, week 9 as injuries start happening for that guy's services if he proves that he's healthy. So, yeah, I absolutely think he's here. They'll PUP him and come back somewhere around midseason. And because injury is going to happen.
Yep.
Jonah is going to miss a game or two, or Orlando Brown's going to miss a game or two. And you've got Akeem Adeniji, I think he's a solid 6 tackle.
Yeah.
Or 6 offensive lineman, swing tackle as it is. But you need depth behind that. Part of me wishes, and they've already gone on the record saying that they're not going to try him back inside. I wish that they would.
You talk about Lael?
Yeah, Lyle Collins. Yeah,
I don't know if he can anymore with all the injuries. That's where I'm at on that.
I wonder, but it's taken away more of his ability to get outside. For the speed rushers, would he be more effective on the inside?
I don't know. I mean, I know nothing. Everything I know, I listened to Dave Lapham. That's where he said it's quicker hand moves and stuff like that on the inside. That's why he.
I still think he'd still be a hell of a pulling guard because that dude, that dude on the move. I mean, even with he's an absolute tank coming at you. And he's going to flatten and pancake every linebacker in his path. More than anything, I just look at the lack of depth in the interior. Cody Ford, I'm still confused. He was when they announced his signing, they announced him as a tackle, but he has an interior lineman's number.
He's a guard.
Right. He's like, right. That's, I'm like, but he's got an interior lineman. Like he's, wearing a number in the 60s. Like that's an interior lineman number, whatever it is. I'm like, and he's been hot garbage. Mm-hmm. We still have Max Sharping, and we saw how awful Max Sharping was against the Chiefs. I think like that's where my concern is, and that's why I wish that they would at least. And again, maybe because he's rehabbing, they don't want to put that on, a position change because it's been a few years since he played the interior with.
I mean, the
with
thing is
Cowboys.
too, if he comes back in 6 weeks and he proves that he's healthy, and like I said, somebody gets injured, maybe they could go trade him and go get a interior lineman, a center, a guard, who could back up. Because the other thing is, we don't really have a really good backup center. So I mean, they had Cordell Wilson taking snaps, which is kind of by a whim. I don't even know if they actually plan on.
And probably just the seat because Trey Hill isn't very good.
Right.
Also,
go sign Dalton Risner. He's just sitting there as he's on the street. He's going to upgrade the back of that room, interior depth.
That's for the podcast listeners.
Yeah. Yeah, he's absolutely a guy that I wish they would have signed in the earlier rounds of free agency. And now, he'll probably after the first handful of guys went off the board, he decided to just wait around and kind of wait until someone gets injured in training camp and sign there. But
somebody's going to.
Oh, absolutely, man! It happens every year. Someone's going to blow an ACL second week of camp, and they're going to need somebody, and probably a better chance of finding a starter's job at that point than coming in as just a depth guy. So anyway, Joe Mixon is still expected to be asked to take a pay cut.
Is he?
Yeah, that was from Paul Dana Jr. And I'm so sad.
They keep saying it.
Yeah, it's you'd think it would have happened by now. I think it's all just part of now in the lead up to camp when you're going to start seeing these extensions come out. Because I mean, that's when the extensions come out, like right when camp starts. I think in the run up is when there's going to be movement. Do you think he'll accept it?
No.
Okay. Jeff?
Yeah, I think he will because, I mean, he wants to win. He wants to play. He wants to be here. He's got the charges and everything on him. If he doesn't accept the extension, lower pay rate, whatever you call it, he's not going to get anything any better out there. So that's where I think he'll accept it because he doesn't have much of a choice. I mean, running backs are dime a dozen. I mean, look at Cook got released. Zeke got released. I mean, all these guys, Kareem Hunt's still out there. All these guys got cut. So he's not going to get any better than what these guys are getting, and none of them have contracts right now. So if the Bengals, and I say it's a big if because I thought they would have done this already. Maybe I'm wrong. I think they should restructure it. I think it's stupid not to. I think he's going to. I mean, I have no inside information or anything. Just if you look at the tea leaves or whatever that's going on in the NFL running back room and the guys who have gotten cuts because they didn't take a pay cut, and let's be real here. Mixon got maybe 2-3 more years left. I mean, running backs don't last that long. Yeah. Once get a ring, I think he'd take it, but we'll see. They haven't happened yet, so I don't know.
I kind of look at it this way. He will get 5.5, or now that's post June. Like it's a cap hit of what am I looking at here? Or cap savings of $7 million if they cut him now. So he'd still make $5.5 million. I think if they ask him to drop down to about that $5 million, he'll take it. I think if they go anything less, he'll decline because I think he'll get more than that.
He's not going to, though.
Right. If he doesn't, what do you think the Bengals do? Do you think they stay internally, or do they turn to, again, I've got them listed here, the veterans that are out there? Dalvin Cook, Elliott, Fournette, Kareem Hunt, Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram is about 147 years old.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
His still, knees are at least, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, for me, if they cut
in-house,
they'd have to go get somebody. They don't have enough people. They don't have enough running backs. I'm talking to be the lead back instead of just someone just to fill out the room. Well, this is my thought. If they cut Mixon, if he doesn't take the pay cut, and Dalvin Cook is still out there, and Dalvin Cook, you can get Dalvin Cook in here, I'd take him. But he's really the only one that's out there that I would say is a lead back anymore. Zeke, his best years behind him, I think.
Oh yeah.
Kareem Hunt hasn't been the same since left Kansas City. There isn't anybody else out there. So that's where the Bengals and Mixon are kind of the same boat. I don't know if the Bengals, they got Chase Brown. They just drafted him. I mean, is he one you could make him your bell cow, but you got to have somebody behind him. You only got Chris Evans, who you barely play.
Yeah.
And then you have I can't think of the other.
Travion Williams.
Yeah, Travion Williams, who I think is a really good running back, by the way, hasn't got much playing time. I mean, that would be your 3. So
yeah, I think Travion Williams can replace a lot of the production that Mixon does. I mean, he's a similar built, like in terms of stockiness. He's a short guy. I mean, he's 5'8". Joe's like 6'1". They're similar, like body style though. I mean, Travion's a thick dude.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got more explosion. He's more trustworthy in the passing game.
Is he? That's the other thing. None of them are really good pass blockers.
Blocking. He grades out a lot better blocking.
Yeah.
But I think more passing downs you're going to see Chase Brown. Anyways, Chase Brown has fantastic hands, and he was an extremely highly graded blocker, and he's got explosion. I can't wait.
I'm very high on Chase Brown.
Yeah. Oh no, I love Chase Brown. I don't know
the Canadian crusher.
Yeah.
Votto's the Canadian cowboy. Chase Brown is the Canadian crusher. I'm looking forward to that guy taking over the second half of the year because I think, especially if they're smart. I mean, they've done it before. You just pepper guys in. So if you keep Mixon, you limit his carries earlier. I mean, you spread them out. You use Travion Williams. You use Chase Brown. Again, I don't know whose dog Chris Evans ran over.
Right.
Because, I mean, that guy,
it seems like anytime he's on the field, he does something. Well, not kick return wise, but
yeah, he was not great there. But
fair catches.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and one, they're all going to be fair catches anyway now since they're up to they're all going to 25, which is dumb. But I mean, he's a dynamic passer. I mean, he runs routes and catches the ball like a receiver. And I get there's a reason. I don't know what it is, but there's a reason that he's to the bottom. Maybe he doesn't do off the field, like, study the playbook enough, or, maybe they just don't try fumbles a lot in practice. I don't know, but he's going to become the forgotten guy. And I thought dude's got all the talent in the world. So it's a little interesting to me.
So Tim, I'm with you. I do really like Chase Brown. I like him a lot. And you said you're a big Chase Brown guy. What have you, what were your thoughts on Chase Brown? Because I do think he's eventually going to be our number 1 running back eventually.
Yeah. Especially like you said, like running backs were so easily like, if you look at, Zeke's situation, he gets hurt and it's like, the guy who's their number 1 now who got hurt last year.
Yeah,
Tony Pollard. Yeah. Who's like just awesome. With this offensive line, especially, it's just like, hey, find the hole and hit it. I think that's going to be pretty easy for Chase Brown. And he did a lot of that at Illinois. I mean, this is a guy who was an All-American. He's a Doak Walker finalist.
Yeah.
I'm pretty high that he can his game will transcribe very well to the NFL level. Plus, playing in the Big Ten where everything's so physical, going to the AFC North,
kind of the same thing.
yeah, very similar.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping that they would get. I mean, there were a handful of backs, like more smaller, Keaton Mitchell. I didn't think they'd get Devin O'Shane, but some of those smaller backs.
I wanted the kid out of not BYU, UBA, Tulane.
UAB?
Is that who beat?
Yeah.
McBride.
McBride was. Where was McBride?
Who was the team that beat UC and won the?
That's Tulane, but that was Tajay Spears.
Sorry, there you go. Tajay Spears. That's who I wanted.
Yeah,
I draft him along with Chase Brown. Both of them.
That was the only UC home game I didn't go to. Was
so it's your fault. It's your fault they lost.
It was Black Friday, wasn't it?
It was, and it was one that I think we were sick, or someone was sick, and I couldn't get someone to go with me. So I'm not sad I missed that game because that was an ugly game.
That was a very, very irritating and gut-wrenching game to watch.
Yeah, just watching Evan Prater try to throw a football is painful to watch. But very last play, he's got Trey Tucker or Tyler Scott, I forget. Those guys are fast as hell. Wide open in the middle of the field. Literally nobody. I mean, the middle of the field open like Moses parting the Red Sea. And he actually puts the ball on the money and he just drops it. And you're like, yeah. Okay. Home winning streak over at 30, whatever it was. And Luke Fickell on the first bus to Madison, Wisconsin.
He was like, deuces, guys. It's been fun. See ya.
Yeah, exactly. He was probably happy because he could get up to Madison a week earlier than having to wait for the championship game. So,
Right.
Yeah. But he's gonna miss out on being a Nike school.
yeah, exactly. And Jordan for basketball, I cannot wait. I'm just bummed that they're not.
I'm
bringing
excited.
Back. I'm happy as hell because but I'm bummed they're not bringing back the iconic.
Uniform.
Yeah. I mean, they said that. Yeah, because I mean that is the iconic look. I mean, you've got how badass did those 99 2000 Bearcats look?
That's the Kenyon Martin jerseys. That's Melvin
Kenyon
Love.
Martin.
That's the wheelhouse of Bearcat basketball for most of us that have paid attention to Bearcat basketball. Those are the coolest freaking uniforms they ever had. I would wish they'd bring those exact ones back, or at least something like it.
Yeah. I mean, playing in CUSA, they were in Conference USA in those years. Seeing, especially if they're on the road and they're walking out in those all black,
baby.
Oh yeah.
That game was done before tip off. I mean, legitimately, never mind that those guys were all. I mean, UC was always one of the earlier ones to adapt a strong, strict weight.
The Monster Factory.
Strength and conditioning. I mean, their guys were jacked before college basketball players were jacked. I mean, early '90s, you see these guys coming out. They all wore the t-shirts under their jerseys because they didn't want to show off how noodle armed they were. UC never had anybody like that. These guys were all.
Remember Ryan Fletcher?
Ryan Fletcher, Bobby
freshman year,
Brannon.
senior year. Holy.
Yeah, exactly.
What happened to Meach?
Yeah.
I mean, Meach was fine. He's everyone's favorite walk-on / sneakerhead.
He's one of my best friends, so I had to mock him. So
Meach has been on my
I have fun even before he became a personality. You know what I mean? I'm a media personality, local personality, whatever. I always loved the walk-ons because when you saw them, they were
the
up
game
like
was over.
Exactly.
You saw Meach going like, all right, we're gonna win this. Let's go.
Exactly. You meet him or some scrubby looking white dude coming off the bench. Like, it's Victory Cigar. I love it.
You can tell Meach I said that. He knows.
So we're saying is Meach was our human Victory Cigar is what we're saying.
Exactly. I'm trying. There was a specific, and I cannot remember who it. Guy was like a 6 foot. I think it was after Meacham. It was another guy that came on in that same era. That was like just easily
the boy from Troy. Oh crud! I know you're talking about.
I know he was a local-ish guy.
Yeah, he's from Troy, Ohio.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember his name. Meeker. Yes, because it was close to Meeker. Meeker. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That was. I think.
Look, we're boring Tim with all the Bearcat talk.
I know. Suck it up, Timmy. No.
Like, this sucks. You don't want to talk Bengals.
I know.
I'm along for the ride.
Just kidding,
man. You knew what you were getting into. And he's the only one wearing any Bengals gear for the Riverfront Bengals show. So we'll run quickly through them. That's pretty much all that's happened in Bengals in the last 3 weeks since we were on last. We'll run through a few quick league-wide notes. DeAndre Hopkins is still looking for a team. Who do you think is going to sign him?
I really hope the Cowboys.
I can see that. I really hope it's not the Ratbirds.
They don't have any room. They've got all 85 first rounders that none of them are any good, but
they're all tight ends.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Patriots, it makes a lot of sense. I think he's done. Apparently Dalvin Cook wants to sign the same place, and social media was having a field day. I'm like, that's exciting if in 2018. In 2023, they're both.
Who's your quarterback?
Mac Zappi, Bailey Jones. It doesn't really matter.
Right. Exactly.
Mac Jones is the NFL equivalent of Grayson Allen. Prove me wrong. That guy is such a bitch. Just a dirty turd.
How do you really feel about him, Joe?
I mean, I'm trying to measure myself here. This is a family show. No. Anyway, did you guys see the Detroit Lions' new alternate lids?
I kind of like them.
I haven't seen them. I don't know what
it's too much going on. They're gonna wear them with their gray. They've got their gray alternate jerseys. There's a picture of Aiden Hutchinson wearing the gray jersey and the helmets. It's the old school Lion that they had. It's 2 stripes, like the silver and blue stripe, and then like kind of an electric blue colored shell. I like the color blue. I would be fine if it was the old school Lion logo, but
Mhm.
with the stripes and everything, just too much going on. And I think it looks horrible with the silver jerseys.
I kind of dig it.
Did you see the whole ensemble? Okay, blue's my favorite color. I love that color. I love the color of the shell itself, but it's just too much going on for my taste. If again, take away the stripes, there's two stripes, and I think it would look sharp. But
Yeah,
with the
I just looked it
silver,
up.
yeah, it's busy.
That's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
definitely
think
busy.
I just really like when people do when teams do different stuff, especially in the NFL, because it's very rare that you kind of go away from the norm. So
Well, I got a
I'm
question
into
for you
it.
guys. Then, this as far as the Bengals go, and some people ask me this. I think this would be kind of cool. Well, first of all, I think it'd be cool if they sometimes come back with the old school, just Bengals on the helmet, at least for one game.
Yeah.
But the alternate, what if they did a orange helmet with black stripes? Are you guys a fan of that, or
like
An orange
reverse.
helmet with black stripes,
Yeah,
like
or
I'm wearing
black and
now.
white.
the black helmet with orange stripes? Sorry. Oh, you got the reverse of what they have.
I don't think so.
No,
I've seen mock-ups of that, and if it were like a matte black, I think it might look sharp because Memphis
is
does
that
that.
really
They
a
do a matte.
lion?
Yeah, that's the original Lions, or I don't know about original, but that's the Lions logo from like the 50s or something.
It doesn't even look like a lion.
It looks like a
What's
a
it?
kid drew it, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, have you guys seen Memphis? Memphis has again a matte black helmet with
Yes.
blue stripes,
Mhm.
and
That
I
looks
think it looks
sick.
pretty cool. But
Yeah.
it's Bengals. The Bengals striped helmet is iconic. The
Oh,
Yeah.
white,
they had the coolest
white
helmet
makes
in the league.
absolutely
yeah.
Immediately. I mean, that had to be absolutely just mind blowing in 1981 when they dropped those.
Yeah,
But,
once
like,
you see
what
those
is going
helmets,
on?
you know what team it is. They have
Exactly.
the only helmet like that. And trust me, I remember I was around in 81. I was a little kid, but I thought they were cool as hell because I never liked, and it's funny, I went to one game to see the old helmets, but I never liked the old helmets. They were just boring and just the Bengals on it.
Right.
And the funny thing is, Paul Brown almost originally had those helmets, the striped helmets originally.
Yeah.
He almost did it. Probably should have, but still. But yeah, they're the coolest helmets in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, I mean, I would be cool with a matte orange and just taking their helmet that they have now and having it matte, but the inverse, I don't.
So
I've
you like
seen
the white
mock-ups,
helmets?
and I don't really care for it.
You like the white striped or the
I
white?
do love the white stripe. That
Ah,
is
bad.
clean. I really wish that they could use the just their regular white jerseys instead of the old color rush, because those I
The
think
big
it looks
block
so much better.
letter. Yeah, I'm with
Yeah.
you. I'm with you.
But I mean, it's still sharp as hell.
Oh yeah, it looks
It-
great. I have the mini helmet on my shelf. It looks like it pops in a
Yeah.
room. You know.
Well, and also apparently the white uniforms help you win a game in Buffalo when it's snowing because Buffalo doesn't get to see you play. So apparently,
That was the absolute
That was
funniest.
the worst, the funniest, dumbest
Like-
excuse.
You realize the home team picks the jersey, right? Like
exactly.
the Bills picked the Bengals wearing white jerseys. Like
I still can't get over that. Well,
they have the brightest,
we couldn't see them.
right? They've got the brightest, orangest goddamn helmets. How do you not see that?
Look at the guys bouncing, going down the field, scoring touchdown, bright ass orange helmets.
The disembodied head that isn't lost in the snow. Like, that's the guy to cover and tackle. Like there was the touchdown pass to Jamar. No one was within 20 yards. Like it's an orange helmet. How do you miss that?
Did
I
you
couldn't
guys?
see them, man. They got
he's
white
in the middle of the
uniforms
field.
on. What the hell?
Right.
Did you guys ever play WWF Attitude for Sony PlayStation?
I had a WWF game, but I can't remember which one it was.
So Head, Al Snow's mannequin
Right,
that
right,
he carried
yeah.
around, was a playable character that literally was just a floating head with like the AI body like moving.
Really?
So that's what the Bills thought they were facing.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So there were reports, and this was reported by Mike Florio at PFF, that a current NFL player lost $8 million in gambling last year. Do you get any of you guys gamble?
Very little.
Okay,
I
Jeff.
won money today.
Okay,
I bet on the Reds.
What's-
$10?
like I've got DraftKings. I put like $20 on maybe 1 or 2 games a month.
Yeah.
Yet to win shit because I go for these crazy parlays and everything, just so I can,
I have a story of a bet that I was going to make that I couldn't make, and I would have won a lot of money if I had done. Before gambling was legal in Ohio, you had to drive to Lawrenceburg to place your bet. So
you didn't know a guy? I thought everyone knew a guy.
No, I didn't know. I just newly got into this gambling thing. I haven't been a degenerate my whole life. I just started becoming a degenerate. But so I drove down. So I work nights at UPS. So I got off work. I was like, all right, I'm gonna drive down there, and I'm like, I just had this crazy feeling. I want to put $100 on the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl. This is in 2021. Well, it actually been January of 20, or no, beginning of 2021. Anyway, I went down there to Barstool, and the sports book wasn't open. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, all right, well, I'll come back later. Well, my wife and my mother decided to talk me out of putting $100 on the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl because they haven't went since 1988. Evan McPherson kicks the game-winning field goal at Burrowhead, and I'm jumping up and down going, yes, we won, but damn it, I won like $3,000. Like, whoa.
Oh. What were the odds? Like, what was it? Plus 3,000? Or no, it had to be more than plus 3,000.
I think it was like plus. I think it was like plus 200,000.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, $100 bet I would have won over $3,000. I don't even remember the exact numbers. It kills me to this day. I'm like, that would have paid for my season tickets twice.
Oh yeah. I mean that's yeah. Go ahead.
A couple weeks ago, when the Reds were like 4 games under 500, I put $20 on them to win the Central because it was plus 2,600. So
good bet.
That's a good one. What's the so I said I maybe $60 total on DraftKings. I knew a guy who knew a guy. I mean, the guy I knew was he's now a high school principal, but it's still
we won't mention his name on the podcast now.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I would put with like $20, and I'm terrible. I'm a hell of a lot better. If you're asking my advice, take it. I'm great when it's someone else's money. When it's my money, I'm making donations. Yeah. It's not gambling, it's donating.
So the bet I had last night, I got the amount of home runs right. I got the guys wrong. I bet, it was $10. I would have won over $1,000. I bet Ellie De La Cruz, Steer, and India would all hit home runs. I got one right. I should have bet TJ Friedel and Willie B, and I would have won over $1,000. So
yeah,
that was 1 for 3. That was major league batting average, I guess. I don't know.
It's better than getting skunked.
I didn't know. I got one right. I mean, I got the number of home runs right, just the 2 other guys wrong. So.
That's you count for something. You should get 5 cents on the dollar back.
Well, it's funny when Benson hit the home run, my son calls me. He goes, "You better cash out now." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Isn't Benson one of your guys?" I'm like, "No, I wish he was." Like, no, I need India or Steer. I'm like,
right.
Like, I'm so freaking close.
India had been on a little bit of a home run run there.
Yeah, so
it's on a power run.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's why I thought they would, but whatever. What do I know?
Stephon Diggs is not happy. Again, I mean, you saw how happy he was during the Bengals-Bills game in the divisional round. Just very politely voicing his. It was a compliment sandwich, telling Josh Allen one nice thing, one thing he'd like to change, and then another compliment. No, he's unhappy with his role and lack of input and play calling. He was the 4th most frequently targeted wide receiver in the entire NFL. The hell does he want? Like, what more of a role do you want?
I think he wants home field advantage against the Bengals in the playoffs with the snow and the Bengals wearing white jerseys. Maybe he wants them to wear black jerseys next time. Maybe he wants his defense to hit Joe Mixon. I don't know.
Tackle Hayden.
Right. Right. Like what? And then what wide receiver gets input?
Shocking for him, right? Like he's probably like a dude that's very
that guy.
And like
I know he's always such a quiet team player. Yeah.
How ecstatic are the Vikings to get rid of that guy and with that pick draft Jay Jettas?
Yeah.
Talk about steal.
I absolutely love Jamar Chase. Jettas is the only guy in the league that I would consider
consider being the key word.
Trade, yeah, swapping.
Consider.
And those two both catching balls, and Terrace Marshall, and Thaddeus Moss,
All
and
the
Foster Moreau, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, they were
All
they weren't
catching
fair.
balls are getting handoffs from
Best
Joey
college
B.
football team ever. I
Just
don't care.
crazy.
It was
I mean, just man.
Now,
That- that
I
is-
want to roll back to what the stuff
The
with
Bills,
Josh
he loses every
Allen.
game.
The thing I thought was interesting when Josh Allen was commenting before they kissed and made up, on social media or whatever, that he said, "That's my boy," and this isn't a football thing. Okay, so if it's not a football thing, then why the hell isn't he at training camp or mini camp?
Right.
That's what Josh Allen came out without any prompting, on his press conference. So I'm like, well, what the hell else could it be? I mean, is it, to me, that's like there's something deeper. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of curious that you would actually admit that in a press conference.
That team, I honestly think this is the last opportunity for Buffalo to make hay with this current. Josh Allen isn't going anywhere, but I mean, with this current core, I think this is their last chance of winning anything, or they're going to have to blow some stuff up because they've had chances and they just can't take advantage. I mean,
I think
they had the. Yeah, well, I mean, I think 13 seconds in Kansas City broke them.
Yeah, and then losing us in the snow because they can't see us.
Yeah.
It didn't help.
Right. A team from Buffalo where it snows, a couple inches in August every year, where they literally had to go door to door to dig out their players and coaches. Like they had a train of people going to players and coaches to dig out from the blizzard this past winter. And man, complaining or fans complaining that the Bengals had the benefit because they wore white jerseys.
That's the best. It's the best.
It's like it's stuff that's like I love people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The stupidity of people just puts a smile on your face when you're not wanting to bang your head against the against the cinder block wall.
Exactly.
It's crazy. On to today's. We've run really long here, guys.
Welcome to podcasting with Tim Daniel.
What? Yeah, exactly. It also doesn't help that we very rarely stayed on topic to what we're talking about.
I think that's my fault. My bad.
Tim Daniel.
It's quite all right. I'm having again. I don't know if anyone outside of the three of us enjoy it, but I'm sure it's still having a fun time. Again, with City of Cincinnati, like having this moment in the spotlight. This is just general conversation about fandom. Why are you guys fans of the teams you're a fan of? First off, Tim, like who are your team? I mean, obviously Reds, Bengals, whatever, but I mean, who are your teams?
So Reds, Bengals. I grew up in a very Catholic family, so Notre Dame football was something that I always grew up going to games. And then basketball wise, I've been a Bulls fan because I'm a kid of the '90s. So
the GOAT, Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
So the Bulls were always my thing. I do always love the Lakers still too. I always watch a lot of Laker games still as well. Just a thing. But yeah, so like the Bulls was like the '90s. My grandpa's a big Notre Dame fan, and then I talk about it all the time on Late Night Reds. Like I'm here because of my dad doing this show for this team I love so much because of my relationship with my dad. And so like it just always kind of was like really important to me. So
Jeff?
Yeah, for me it's Reds, Bengals, Bearcats. In no particular order. I mean, I grew up I became a Reds fan because of my grandparents. My grandparents were huge Reds fans. My grandpa was a huge Pete Rose fan. My grandma was a huge Johnny Bench fan. So when I was a little kid, those are always my two favorites. And then the 80s came around, and then Chris Sabo became my favorite Reds player. I got all kinds of stuff in here of Sabo. Bengals, 81. My uncle went to the Super Bowl. I wish I still had the hat, the original striped hat. I got that. I got the 81 banner sitting right over there. Bearcats is my dad. My dad went to UC. We used to have season tickets when Tony Yates was the basketball coach, and they were absolutely horrible. But I had a fun time going down there with my dad. I've been down to Nip at Night is one of the coolest, if not the coolest. It's not big, but it's one of the coolest places to watch a football game. Exactly. You got the background there. Watch a game at nighttime. So my dad it was a big influence as far as making me a Bearcat fan. So it's my family. My family is the reason that I root for the teams that I root for, and I'm just a sports nut. That's why I do my show, and I get to talk about all of them every single day. So and my son is the same way. I warped him that way, so he's a Reds, Bengals, Bearcats fan as well.
Raising them up right.
Exactly. Working on my daughter. She roots for him, but she's not as big enough.
Yeah.
So she goes, Dad, why are you talking about sports? I'm like, I know. I don't really have anything else. That's all I have. I'm sorry. I'm not a very deep person.
Talk politics and just get pissed off. I mean,
I'm good with that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, likewise. I mean, I'm a fan. If you have Cincinnati in your team name, I'm going to be a fan of you, which is why I'm not.
Which includes FC.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I'm not a Xavier fan. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I mean, my parents were sports fans, but they weren't huge sports fans. Like, it wasn't like pushed on us. I mean, the Reds game was always on the radio during the summer, coming back and forth from ball games or whatever. But and I was born in '80, so in the
God, I'm old.
Yeah, you really are. I mean, you're only born in the '70s. But I mean, raised up in the afterglow of the Big Red Machine, in T-ball and Little League, we would everyone prided themselves on getting these little chevrons that said Charlie Hustle. Like you'd get those for the kids who'd bust their ass the most, and that's only one guy who that was referring to. Now we have issues with the man after his playing days, but that's we won't get into that.
Right.
Bengals, I knew of them. I mean, obviously the Bengals were a thing growing up. I didn't really start following football too much until ironically 1988. 8 years old, right before the season started. And I remember the first game of the season. It was the first Phoenix Cardinals game. It was the first year that they relocated from St. Louis. And I remember God, who was their quarterback?
Oh shit.
Not Tom Tupa. That was the punter /
I could tell you.
Tim Rosenbaum. I can't remember, but they weren't a good team. But I remember that was the first game of the season, and I remember watching that. That was the first season that I actually remember following from beginning to end. And that team goes to the Super Bowl, so of course that's going to make a gigantic impact on you. First basketball game I ever went to was actually a Xavier game. My dad was an alum, and we went to Xavier versus Brown. I think Brian Grant and Aaron Williams were still there. It was right after Tyrone Hill left. And I actually was a bigger Xavier fan than UC fan for a small period of time until UC made the Final Four in '92. And then they
Neil Lomax.
Neil Lomax.
That's right. That's okay. Yep. Yeah. Those guys were all quarterbacks for the Cardinals, but I couldn't remember who it was. Neil Lomax. I think he was in Tecmo Super Bowl. God, what a great game. I would sit down and challenge you guys to a game right now, and I'd even let you guys play Bo Jackson. I don't care. That's just such a fun game to play.
That's the only way I win if I was Bo.
See, ironically, I would take the Chiefs and I would move the roster around. I loved that team because Derek Thomas was fucking unstoppable. Mm-hmm. That guy was a cheat code. Mm-hmm. For as good as Bo was on offense, Derek Thomas.
Well, he had the Nigerian nightmare too.
Christian Okoye, Barry Ward, Stephon Page. I mean that Steve DeBerg wasn't a great quarterback, but he was solid enough. That was a good team, man. Anyway, I've got off track. Tim, you threw me off the.
This is the Bengals podcast. We're talking about the Chiefs. What the hell, Tim? God.
You had to throw in Neil Lomax.
So my wife. Sidebar. My wife makes fun of me all the time because we'll be watching a movie or TV show, and she'll be like, where have I seen this person in it? And I'm like, I can't not know. I'm that kind of person. So I would be go on IMDb. I find the character, and I'm like, oh yeah, they were in this, and this. So
Tim's like the dog from Up. Squirrel.
Yeah. Yes. Which is very fitting because I'm in a very Disney family. My daughter's first Disney experience next year is going to be the Disney Wish Cruise. So
ooh,
nice. We're actually going back to Disney in August. So
I know we still have to talk about it.
And yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. I think more than my kids would, and they're 13 and 8. So that's, it's fun as hell. Anyway, so, but again, it's in the city. I've never been able to root for outside of teams that we don't have. Like I was a Bulls fan growing up because of Jordan and Pippen.
Mhm.
I always liked the Blackhawks. I don't know why. I think their
Because of the
sweater.
Bulls.
What I actually I
Same
think it's
arena.
more just because their sweater. They have the coolest,
They do.
most
Yes.
badass looking
do.
sweater, and
They do.
it's more.
Shocked it hasn't been canceled yet.
Yeah, it's been
Well, it's
embraced
more
by the
tribe,
Blackhawks.
So
Yeah, it's
kinda-
it's been looked at as more respectful,
yeah.
and like it's been like they've had conversation, like they changed the spelling of the Blackhawks from 2 words to one. Like it's like they've been as
Yeah.
I'm not. I still don't think you should name your team after a group of people, which you're not, whether it's the Fighting Irish or the anything like Redskins or anything like that. But I just think their hockey sweaters are the absolute coolest. But I mean,
I agree.
for basketball or hockey, I kind of just my fandom kind of floats to whatever style I like. I mean, the Warriors of a handful of years ago, that's just fun basketball to watch.
Yeah,
Just
it is.
absolute free flow, the movement. Everybody can shoot. Everybody, all this positionless basketball. But yeah, I mean, if you are from Cincinnati, I'm gonna root for you. I'm turning myself into an FC Cincinnati fan, and I never cared about soccer, but it's first like they're entertaining. They're a good team, so that helps it. When when they were the worst team in the league for the first 3 years, that's hard to really kind of draw yourself into the sport. But it's again it's a fun time right now. But what's the best fan moment that you've experienced live? Again, we'll start with you again, Timmy.
I have a tie.
Okay.
A 3-way tie. Okay. It's too hard. We're from Cincinnati. We don't have a whole lot of great moments, So, first of the 3, I was at the Raiders playoff game last year. I was at the end of the curse. I smoked my cigar in lot A. So, 2, I was at Clinchmas, Jay Bruce's walk-off.
Nice.
And I was also at Homer's no-hitter in 2013.
Oh,
nice.
That one I wasn't there. Okay. Well, you stole. I was basically at the Clinchmas. I was there. The AFC Championship game or the Raiders win. I was there, but we smoked our cigars in the stadium. They could have kicked me out. I didn't care.
Yeah.
Now the one I will put, and now I wasn't at it, but I saw it. Does that count?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this first one is just like the first one is what you actually were there in attendance.
Well, okay. Those are the 2 that I was actually there in attendance to watch those 2. Clinchmas was unbelievable because I see the other one when Ellie De La Cruz came out. That was awesome because my son came with me, and he said because he was at Clinchmas with me in 2010. He goes, "This is as much electric as I've felt in the stadium since Clinchmas," and he was 10. That was 2010.
Yeah.
So that's where that was cool combining with Clinchmas because it was just Jay Bruce hit a home run to win the freaking division. That was unbelievable.
Getting to interview Drew Stubbs about that was like really, really cool. Getting to talk to him about chasing that ball down from Carlos Lee and robbing the homer. Like that was one of my better moments in this business.
That was a great play. That was awesome.
Yeah. Jeff, Tim, Chad, and I went on right after Ellie and Nate. Yeah, it was all 4 of us. Right after Ellie's thing, and we had a game that day, so I missed the first. I legitimately, it was a game that we were going to get our teeth kicked in because it's a team we played twice and kicked the crap out of us. I had legitimate thoughts of just forfeiting the game and just telling my families, "Hey, listen, like it's games like moved or they can't play or something, just coming up with something and telling the other team we'll have enough players." It was a legitimate thought that went through my mind. I just wanted to watch it instead of coming back and looking at my phone and looking, holy crap, he hit a double in his 187 miles an hour, for his first hit in the majors. But yeah, that would have been awesome to be there live. Would have been awesome to be able just to watch the thing on TV live.
It was awesome. It was the most fun I had at a Reds game in a couple of years.
Yeah,
watching them win and watching them walk it off. It was unbelievable.
I've been to triple-digit baseball games, Reds games in my life, and I've yet to witness anything like noteworthy. I've yet to get a home run ball. I've yet to get a foul ball. I've yet to get a ball tossed in the fans with me, or tossed up in the stands by a player. I'm a curse, I think, It's the most frustrating thing. Like, and it's not because I'm sitting up in nosebleeds. It's not because I spent my childhood in the upper 6 seats at Riverfront. I mean, we got plenty of seats up there in high school and college. But when I was 7, we saw Ron Robinson throw 8 2/3 perfect game. And again, at 7-year-old, and like I was a hardcore baseball nerd at that age already. Like I knew, I was completely fully aware of what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Wallace Johnson coming into pinch hit in the pitcher's spot in the 9th, hitting a single. Rock Raines coming up, hitting a 2-run home run, making it 3-2, and then John Franco coming in and finishing off the save. I mean, I was 1 out away from watching a perfect game.
Yep.
Do you even remember True Creature Ron Robinson, Tim Daniel?
No.
He was a creepy, scary looking guy. I'm probably like no reason to think he wasn't the nicest guy. You need to like right now Google a picture of Ron Robinson.
You know who we traded him for?
Dave Parker.
Nope.
No. He was
on the '90 World Series team.
Glenn Braggs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I do know that. Never mind.
Like huge, tough to flaming red. I think he played with Dave Parker in Milwaukee.
Did,
yeah. I'm thinking.
Are we sure this isn't Brian Scalabrine?
Could be.
Yeah.
Incarnated.
Yeah. I mean, just a weird, and then he went to Milwaukee, grew out a beard, so he had this this huge, flaming red afro and beard, and he was a Ron. I hope you're not listening. Actually, I think maybe he might have passed on. True Creature.
Now going to his Wikipedia page.
Okay, so True Creature, you're still alive. I love you. Almost saw something famous, but you scared the hell out of me as a kid. Getting your baseball card, we were taught to never trade. Like my dad told us, never trade any Reds baseball cards. Like keep them. Like we would trade with friends and whatever.
Right.
I wanted to get rid of that card the second I saw it. It was nightmare fuel. Bengals. I mean, I've been to a couple playoff games. I had season tickets in 13 or in 2005. Our seats were in the south end zone, so we were absolutely losing our minds. Huge 65-yard pass from Palmer to Chris Henry, and everyone's cheering. My brother's got the seat next to me, and I see a crumpled up heap of number 9, and I'm like elbowing him. I'm like, dude, Palmer's down. Palmer's like, that's not good. And then everyone starts, because it was in our end of the field.
Yeah,
and just everyone's heart sank. Like,
I just remember looking at the jumbotron to like wait for the replay.
Yeah.
And they just show him laying there like face first, and I'm like just crushed. I knew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Kitna kept them in the game through the first half, but
Yeah.
You know what's cool about all this we said? We forever, if anybody had sports memories in the recent, 20, 25 years, it was always Carson Palmer's knee injury or Kenny Martin breaking his leg.
Yeah.
The Bengals and the Reds have changed that, where we got the playoff win, we got clinches, we got Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah.
This is how things are changing around here. It ain't doom and gloom.
Yeah, I don't have to talk about the Vontaze Burfict meltdown anymore.
Oh God, no. Please don't.
Ever again.
Oh,
never have to think about it ever again.
Jeremy Hill.
Oh God.
Jeremy
Then
Hill.
he won a Super Bowl ring for the freaking Patriots. And then
Jeremy Hill.
Well, he played like 2 snaps. So let's be clear.
Yeah.
He won one the same way Phillips won a World Series with the Red Sox. It's
exactly.
Jeremy Hill was only in that game because Ryan Shazier was a goddamn headhunter, and it almost cost him his life.
Yeah.
He absolutely speared Gio, and basically one of the most mind-numbingly called, like the
fumble.
Yeah, it was a catch and a fumble. Like, no, he didn't have the ball. He caught it, didn't even take a step, turned around and got speared.
Yeah.
And they called it a catch, called it a fumble. There's no penalty, and like one of the best ball security running backs in the league is out for the game.
Yep.
And
that
he's
allowed to run on the field and nothing happens about that.
Yeah, I mean, there were 8 million decisions and things that went in that game. I mean,
and AJ Green balled out in that game. Absolutely deserved to win.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
absolutely deserved.
well, and that was a crappy game until the fourth quarter. I mean, McCarron did
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
something
was
I
kind
always laugh at when they're like, "Well, maybe they should actually have him start over Dalton because they almost won a playoff game." And it's like, did you watch the first 3 quarters of that game?
Tim,
was
that
terrible.
drove me nuts. People were like at work, they're like, "Oh, we got Andy Dalton's replacement." I said, "Who?"
Right.
Oh, AJ McCarron. I said, "Are you serious? Did you see what he
Right.
did at Alabama?" I said, "Yeah, he handed the ball off."
Yeah.
Like,
Bro, he had Amari Cooper.
right. I
and
mean,
all
how
these
is
guys.
he gonna?
Yeah.
I mean, not that Andy Dalton was the greatest quarterback, but he was better than AJ McCarron. I'm like,
Yeah.
Oh,
It's and it just it's that whole game and everything about it. And that's the thing. If they would have won that week, like there was a chance that Dalton would have been able to. And again,
In New England.
how much do you really want to rely on Dalton in the playoffs? But I'd rather have Andy Dalton than
That
AJ
team?
McCarron.
Dude,
And like
actually, Andy was having an MVP type year that year.
He had a
It's
great
like,
year.
Great.
Yeah, like he had a great year.
Yeah.
And again, like I can't remember for sure, but I mean, I remember that it was not out of the question that Dalton would have been okay to play in the divisional round.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
Shoulda, woulda.
all went down the toilet.
But that's all right. We got Jackpot Joe. We got Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah.
Things are changing
Everything's
here
better
in the
now.
Natty,
Exactly.
baby.
That was new uniforms, new
Yeah.
era, new coach. Thank God.
Right.
And again, Marvin Lewis did so many great things, but man, 16 years was way too long for that guy. That atmosphere. He was a stale fart. Like that was, like there was, sometimes those farts come from a really good meal and like you've got really good memories. It's from like a steak and having some gorgonzola on that steak and that cheese, but maybe that cheese doesn't agree with you. And yet, but you have memories of the earlier part of that. And he was just the stale fart. And it was his disdain for anything new. And like he ruined John Ross's career because he had absolutely zero. It's like, no, thank God he had to go. Even if Zach Taylor wasn't the coach, wasn't the guy that he turned out to be, it would not have been a bad move to move on from him. I mean, he should have been fired 5 times beforehand. I mean, after 2010, after, there are many times to get, after the meltdown of Paul Brown, like when the culture wasn't going to change and but yeah, we moved on and we have sunny days ahead and I'm all for it.
Absolutely.
Want to do a couple viewer mail questions? What do you say? Tim,
I'm in.
you got a couple of you asked one of them and it's a great
I know. To be fair, I asked this before I knew I was going to be on the show. So
these questions are from our family at on Slack channel. If you guys want to join our Slack chat, we are patreon.com. I probably should have cleared my throat before I got on here. Sorry about that. Patreon.com, Riverfront. Join us. Only a couple of dollars. We have a lot of fun. We have once a month, we have live Zoom hangouts during a Reds game, during something, just chat for a while. You get admittance to our Slack channel, which is always a lot of fun stuff. We talk Reds, we talk Bengals, we talk movies. It's more I'm a little more unfiltered, which it says a lot because I don't really hold back anyway. But
Joe talked shit about Star Wars this week at our Slack channel, and we about threw hands.
What?
Almost through virtual hands.
Yeah.
There are a lot of just plot holes and why was Leia like trying to seduce her brother? Like that's a whole.
No, it was her brother at the time. God,
no, George Lucas didn't know that he was going to make her his brother because that's just creepy as hell. This is not Alabama. I think I have completely just we've lost him. I have infuriated him.
Tim's out. He said, "Screw this." You
I'm concerned what he's coming back with.
He's like, "I'm out." Oh boy,
we got a lightsaber.
We have a lightsaber.
Damn it, the batteries are dead, but you get what I'm saying.
That's fitting.
Force is strong with this one.
I can tell you where to do that at Disney World, Joe. It's definitely worth the time.
Hey, I'm more into I had only seen episode 4. Like there's American Film Institute has a list of the 100 greatest American films, and my life's work isn't exactly a fitting thing, but I mean my goal is to watch every movie on there. So the original episode 4 was on there, so that was the only Star Wars film I had watched. My wife and I a few months ago decided that we were going to watch the ones that are, I don't say canon, but I mean the ones that the 9, episodes 1 through 9, and then Solo, because it at least ties in with with the characters. And like some of like the episode 4 is a great movie. Some of the other movies were fine, like they were entertaining. I will go to my death to say that Lando, who played Lando in Solo?
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover, that's right. Charles Gambino. I will go to my death saying that he was a better, not cooler, because no one is cooler than Billy D. Williams.
No one's cooler than Billy D. You're right.
He was a better Lando Calrissian.
Oh, for sure. He also got more time to be a better Lando.
Yeah, I mean, Billy D. walked so that Gambino could run.
Absolutely.
But Jeff's just kind of.
This is why you join our Slack channel, folks.
I don't know if are you regretting coming on?
Who, me? No, this is great.
Jeff.
I'm cool.
I'm more wondering when Chad and Nate listen to this tomorrow if they're gonna be like, "What the hell did you guys do?"
They don't listen. They gave me a show so they didn't have to deal with me. Like Nate got out. I mean, Nate helped me out until he realized that I wasn't going to screw up totally, and then he was out. He deuced out. Like, I'm gone. Find someone else to do it with you. Anyway, onwards. Again, getting totally sidetracked.
Damn it, Tim.
From the aforementioned Nate Dotson, he asked 2 questions. First off, what are the differences, if any, between the buzz around a good Bengals team and a good Reds team? And this is also a good thing that we've got all 3 lifelong native Cincinnatians here. That like we've seen a little of each. So Jeff, can you tell a difference between the city buzz around a good Reds team and a good Bengals team?
The difference, I'll say, because it's been such a long time for any of this. The Bengals seem a little more like a party. It's just once a weekend.
Yeah,
and it's an event. so the buzz keeps building from Monday all the way up to Sunday. Then it's a big party Sunday. Then you start all over again. The Reds, it's a slow grind all the way through the whole season, 162 game season, 82 at home. So it depends on, obviously how they're going. Like right now, it's exploding because we haven't had this in forever.
Yeah.
Now with the Reds, since they play so many damn games, if they go on a 7-game losing streak, it could fizzle out pretty quickly too. So that's the difference. It's more up and down with the Reds, I think, and the Bengals. As long as they keep winning, it's more of a gradual, build up for the weekends. If that makes any sense of how I'm trying to explain that.
I think that's really kind of the best way to describe it. Because I was going to say, it feels like more like, I don't know if romantic's the right word when the Reds are good.
Yeah,
just because the attachment to the city.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in baseball, baseball is a more romantic sport. That's ask Chad. Chad is a gooey, sappy baseball romantic. I'm one of those people that actually like Field of Dreams.
Baseball and Apple. Oh, I love that movie. Baseball and Apple Pie, baby.
Yeah, it's so I think like so Paul Brown, like Paycor, I guess. I hate calling it that. But I understand.
It's just called Parkour or Payjo.
Payjo Stadium, yeah. Like Jeff said, it's a big party every weekend, tailgate and things like that. And but last night, so I took my daughter to her first game, and it's like a family like event almost at times. It feels like it's more like a family environment where like these older women who are like next to me are like, "Oh my goodness, she's so beautiful. This is her first game. This is so cool. Have you taken her here? Check this out," and stuff like that. I think, but I think it's just like, I hate the whole, is it a football town? Is it a baseball town thing?
It's a sports town, dude.
It's a sports town. We love our teams, and
you're cutting into a later question here, so we'll
okay.
We'll touch on that.
Welcome to Podcasting with Tim Daniel.
I sent you the show notes, man. See, it's funny because I kind of look at it as the opposite, because football is such a huge climactic event. You have one event a week. It's the buildup is huge. Mm-hmm. It's more, and again, because the Bengals have been good, it's a lot more up than down. But even Bengals went 12-4 last year. Those 4 losses, that week sucked ass.
Yes, it did.
Coming on to talk about a losing game, especially the first couple weeks when they just didn't look good. They didn't look right, and you're trying to still be optimistic and coming on and talking for an hour and a half, and you're like, Whereas baseball, because there's so many games, it's more like even the lows. And again, it's to steal from our esteemed general manager of the Reds, Nick Kroll. It's peaks and valleys, but the Reds are on a super huge high right now. I mean, they've got all this juice and all this buzz from the rookies, and winning 11 games in a row, winning 5 series in a row. Like, they're super up here. But even if they go out and get swept by Atlanta over the weekend, it's not that big of a fall because they still have 85 games after this weekend. Like, it's
Right.
It's there aren't as many, like even a crappy Reds team. Yeah, they're down here but I mean, baseball is just a day-to-day occurrence. It's part of your life every single day. It's, before every game being on TV, as a kid running and checking the box score, checking Sports Center in the morning to see what happened to the Reds if they were out on the West Coast in the summer. It's just a day-to-day occurrence of what you do. And even when they're good, even in 90,
you can recover faster.
Even 95, exactly. All they lost. They lost 12-2 to the Dodgers.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, even the best teams lose 60 games a year. It's the buzz. I think the Bengals buzz is higher again because football is just a more passionate sport. I mean, we're more romantic about baseball, I think, than most cities. I mean, St. Louis, Boston, New York, for as big as it is, I think is still a baseball town. Those are the only other cities that I would compare.
Well, yeah, the Knicks suck.
Well, yeah, I mean, Jets and the Giants aren't great, but I mean, as huge as football is, yeah, I don't think Mo Egger watches us, so I think we're safe. Remember, this is my show, not yours. I don't. You can see the you can look at the views. You can check the analytics, man. It's not great.
No, that it's not. Jeez.
But I mean, it's for as romantic as we are, I mean, football is still just a much more passionate thing. So I think there's more buzz for a good football team than a Reds team, even with the Reds having a better baseball history and definitely more romantic baseball history.
Right.
His second question is, who will the Bengals draft in tonight's NBA draft?
NBA draft's tomorrow, Nate.
I'm just copy and pasting, so that's
who draft tomorrow in the NBA draft?
The Bengals.
Who are the Bengals going to draft in the NBA draft? So my thing is, with the Bengals, imagine a basketball draft with the Bengals. Who would you draft first overall?
T. Higgins.
That's who I got as number 1. Jeff, you get the number 2 pick.
I'm going with Jackpot. That point guard.
And he can hit from deep. Yeah, those are the only 2 guys that I really had for an answer. So I'm going to go off the board. Andre Yoshivas.
Yoshi.
I think that dude, he's a crazy athletic freak. First of all, I think that guy is the steal of the draft because no one's expecting him. He's not even the 4th or 5th receiver. He's an absolute athletic freak coming from the Ivy League. So of course he doesn't have a lot of run, but I bet you that guy can absolutely ball. I bet you he's got hops out of the gym. And he's fast as hell, so he's taking that outlet pass and just flying by and
taking it to the house, baby,
rolling it down on a breakaway.
Kevin Love style outlet pass. Yeah,
man, that dude, he can play till 50 if he can just get rebounds and just
throw
the outlet pass.
All he's got to do.
I mean, he doesn't have to score. He doesn't have to do anything. Don't play defense. Just come in, rebound, and heave it down court.
Exactly.
Our favorite Canadian, Joey Gaditza, asks, "Have any Bengals players?" Exactly. I think we love Joey. He does, and you'll hear Jeff. He does. He plays bass for a punk rock band in Canada, and he did the outro music.
Oh, cool!
So they've got a song on Spotify. He sent me a few of their songs. They're really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna commission him to do stuff for me.
Yeah, cool. He needs to. I keep telling him, like, and of course it's easy, less easier now with all the restrictions and all that crap. But they need to come to Cincinnati. I mean, he's way the hell out in Regina, Saskatchewan, but yeah, dude, I'll be in the front. You ever make it this way, Joey?
Same.
Plus, Canadian guys named Joey. How do you not love that guy?
Right. Yeah.
But he asked if any Bengals been in attendance for Reds games. Orlando Brown, he was there just the other day with Joey's first game. Like, he posted videos. So I mean, these teams are. Trent Irwin threw out the first pitch today. I mean, these teams have a relationship with each other, and again, like, that's 3 blocks away, and Cincinnati's not exactly like the biggest sports town where there's 20 other teams.
Right.
I'm sure guys are there all the time, but again, Orlando Brown was just there a couple of days ago, so
yeah,
they're there, and the Bengals have had, or the Reds have had pretty much everybody come out and throw a first pitch at one point or another.
And Jonathan, India's been spotted at Bengals games.
Yeah, Bengals Jim tailgate. He's India's trying his best to like ingrain himself into the
I love
Cincinnati culture. Yeah, and
right.
There's a weird discourse about him that people are taking conversations that aren't even intended to go one way and running with it. Like
in this town,
you trade him, yeah, exactly. Or when college football analysts jump in and throw their 2 cents in Kirk Street. You're throwing the napalm bomb.
It would have helped if you actually were read.
Right, completely missed the point. It wasn't. They weren't saying trade India. They just said the easiest. Like you have a ton of guys playing similar positions. Yeah, taking one person out of that mix makes it easier. That doesn't mean it's the best thing to do. Like that's you're missing the like. Just read the damn article.
Right, read it.
Regardless, yeah, I mean it's India's trying his best to. I think this is just the guy that he is. He just wants to be a part. He wants to be a dude of all things Cincinnati, and I love seeing it because it's he's a guy from Florida. Yep. What the hell is he doing here at a Bengals tailgate in the winter? When
freezing his ass off.
It's cold as hell. Yeah, exactly. You're freezing your ass off when it's 50 degrees. Go down to Florida where you're sweating from every orifice of your body 24 hours a day, and you got.
I'll be there in about 2 days.
Yeah, I got. Yeah. Look out for the alligators and Floridians. I don't know what's more scary, walking dinosaurs or actual native people who live in Florida.
Yes.
Speaking of people from Florida, nice segue. Charlie Zollers, who goes to University of Central Florida, go Citronauts. He yelled at me once because I called them the Golden Knights. They changed their name again. They're just the UCF Knights.
I love Central Florida.
What's that?
I love Central Florida. I'd move there in a heartbeat.
Exits that way. Go that way. No. They're rival of UC, man. There's no.
Oh, it's not the university. It's the fact that it's Orlando
area.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like hurricanes and the constant smell of BO,
Central Florida doesn't get hurricanes. We're fine there. This ain't
tornadoes though. Tornadoes spin off of the hurricanes. You can get that.
I mean, Florida isn't a wide state. It hits the Atlantic coast. It's only 80 miles till it comes over and at least dumps several inches of rain on you.
There's only one state like Cincinnati. I mean, one state like Ohio. I mean, and only one state like Cincinnati. I mean, we're awesome.
It's a unique. I mean, Cincinnati isn't even part of Ohio. It's its own. I really think that city Cincinnati should exactly should become its own district like DC and should be its own autonomous. The rest of Ohio doesn't want us. I don't want the rest of Ohio. Fuck Ohio State, man. I don't want to be in the same conversation with Cleveland and Columbus and all. Columbus is nothing but frat bros, soccer moms, and cow pastures. That's the city of Columbus. Hello to all of our Columbus fans.
Hello, everybody.
I just lost us 2 subscribers. Sorry about that. Anyway, on to Charlie's question. With the emergence of the Reds, is Cincinnati a baseball town or a football town? I'm going to give my thoughts first, and then I'll let you guys respond. It's a football town. Look at high school football. I mean, again, Charlie's from. I think he's from Columbus area, or he's from not far from Cincinnati, but not Cincinnati. High school football is absolutely gigantic here. College football is huge. I mean, UC has become a top 40, 30 program. Ohio State's right up the road. Notre Dame isn't far. And then the Bengals. Cincinnati's a football town. It's baseball is. I think I contradicted myself earlier when I said it's a baseball town, but I mean I think it's more. There's more passion for football than there is for baseball. It's more romantic about baseball, but it's more passionate about football.
That's an interesting way to say it. Yeah.
You see how big of an event is high school football around here, and especially again, Jeff, you're a West Sider, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's batshit crazy out that way.
Oh yeah, Elder X.
Yeah.
Mueller on the other side. Yeah. So LaSalle. Yeah, it's
exactly.
It's the real deal. I mean, my kids went to Oak Hills. We got our ass kicked by all them. But anyway,
I went to Milford. I understand the concept.
I went to West High. Yeah. That's even worse.
Don Zimmer, Tuffy Rhodes, Pete Rose.
Yep,
You're
yep.
another esteemed.
Yep. That's when we
alumni.
were actually a good school. Now, whatever. But to answer your question, I just answer it's a sports town, dude. I mean, because it just depends on, and I don't mean to be. I agree with what you're saying about the high school football is huge.
Yeah,
but also the Bengals are huge right now because the Reds have stunk.
Right.
You just seen the wait till this weekend when the Reds play the Braves. It's gonna, especially they win Friday night, it's gonna be damn near sold out the whole weekend, or pretty close.
It's gonna be a cool atmosphere.
Yeah. So I don't want to say we're fair weather fans, but we're not gonna give you our money if you ain't trying. If you're trying, you got a winning product, huh?
Yeah. If you're getting beaten down, you're not gonna. You know, I mean,
but if you're a winning program, we're gonna come out. Hell, they sold out the Coliseum up, whatever, Heritage Center, whatever the hell they call it, when the Cyclones won the Kelly Cup twice.
Yeah.
And that's a minor league hockey team.
And that place is a dump. That place still sells RC Cola and Diet Right.
Dude, I was just at the WWE show there last Saturday.
That's right.
I was like, what is this thing? Like, what is this? Like
RC Cola at a public forum in 2023 and Diet Right and
7-Up's the only good thing to have there.
Right. I mean, I'll be there in January for Aerosmith concerts, and I would love to be the one to swing the wrecking ball whenever that place gets. I mean, it's just.
You're not going to the Kiss concert in October?
No, I'm not a Kiss fan at all.
Well, can't all be perfect.
I will, since I insulted your insulted your Star Wars fandom, I will leave my thoughts about Kiss to myself because they're very similar to Star Wars. Okay, real quickly, it's all about
God, here we go.
About merchandise and image, and it's very much style over substance. Okay, continue. Tim, you probably hate me by now.
Like,
still here, aren't I?
Yeah, Tim's like, why the hell did I come on this show?
And after the dig from yesterday, too. All right.
I'm a good sport.
Do you want to preface, since this is your question, do you want to ask the question? Because it's awesome. I haven't followed much wrestling in 20 some odd years, but I love it.
So I actually sent this in the baseball group text, and I laughed because Chad was like, I have no idea what this is whatsoever. So this is why I was like, I'll bring it here. And again, this is before I knew I was going to be on the show. So I asked, if you took all the hosts from the Riverfront and made us our own version of the NWO, who would be who? I suggested that Chad would be Hollywood Hulk Hogan. You know, he's the leader.
Absolutely.
So makes sense. I said that Joe and Greg would be Kevin Nash and Scott Hall because they're the outsiders, because they're the football coverage guys. And so I was like, where does that put me, Nate, and Carlos then in that scenario? So you suggest Nate to be 6'1" X-Pac, Sean Waltman, 1-2-3 kid.
Yeah,
I can get down with that. I can definitely get down with that.
More of a shit stirrer, you know what I mean? He's not the heavy, but he's definitely a shit stirrer, and he has his own flair and style.
And a different age could be world champion. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have to think of myself as the Macho Man because I feel like I've got the most energy of all of our show hosts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like NWO Macho was so sick and super underrated. So leaves Carlos.
Are we doing Wolfpack or the entire? I mean, because
this is where it gets crazy because there's also NWO Silver with Jeff Jarrett and Bret Hart, and that was like, I could see Carlos being a little Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner.
I was going to go with Scott Steiner. I was going to, holler if you hear me. I was absolutely going to go with Steiner. Jeff, Carlos Guevara, former Reds farmhand, Padres farmhand, pitched for the Padres. He comes on, won't grace me with his presence because he's a Texans fan, but
he lives in San Antonio, to be fair. So
what's that?
He lives in San Antonio.
I mean, obviously, but I mean, he still talk football,
right?
Mm-hmm. He's going to come on my show one of these times, so
it's going to happen.
But again, I honestly, that's funny that you went with Scott Steiner because I was going, So who's the
nobody's
dog-faced gremlin then? If he's Scott, who's Rick Steiner?
Well, Rick never did the NWO.
Well, I know.
Who's
But-
Sting, though? Who, you don't have a Sting? He was in there for Red and Black.
He was in the Wolf Pack.
Yeah.
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 There's still Conan, and there's still
I mean, hell, there's
There's a
35
lot of
members
guys,
at one time at the NWO. So
Right, yeah. Ted
You
DiBiase one time was a member of the NWO.
Yeah.
Virgil, or not Virgil,
Vincent.
Vincent. Yeah,
Yeah.
Vincent. He was Virgil
Dust-
in WWE.
Dusty Rhodes is one time he was heel in WCW. He was part of the NWO. Very
missed that.
short-lived.
Missed
Yeah.
that.
You should have. Yeah.
The one live wrestling event I went to was a Nitro at whatever
99?
First Center. Yeah.
I was there.
Okay. We
They
were
shot Ready to Rumble a little bit right before.
okay. Yeah, it was, and that was right when Goldberg was. I can't remember who he wrestled.
He was working with Sid at the time for the U.S. title.
Okay,
And
but he was the. He was the main event though, wasn't he?
the main event that night, I actually just looked this up recently, and
Wow.
I found it on Peacock. Was Sting and DDP versus Hogan and Flair.
Ooh.
I was like, how do I not remember this?
That would have been a good one.
Woo!
Greatest wrestler of all time, Ric Flair. Woo! Love Ric Flair.
That man was still wrestling, and he had old man boobs, and it was like the most disgusting thing ever.
But the thing is, that man lived his gimmick. He didn't
Yeah.
lie. He lived he's still living his gimmick. He
Yeah.
is Ric Flair.
He even said Richard Fleer died a long time ago.
Yes,
I am Ric
he's not
Flair.
Richard Flair. He's Ric Flair.
Yeah, it's Alice Cooper and Vincent. I can't remember what his the last name.
Oh, yeah.
Farrago.
Yeah.
There's no Vince. It's all Alice Cooper.
Exactly.
So I think that's a pretty good place to wrap up here, fellas. Again, we've run a long time, and again, I'm more than happy to stick around for another couple hours, but I've got a wife and two kids upstairs. They're probably wondering why the hell why I'm still down here yelling "woo" for the hell of it.
Because you can.
Exactly.
Because I can't. Exactly. Jeff, any parting thoughts before we skate on out of here?
No, I appreciate you guys having me on the show. Joe, I gotta get you back on. Tim, you gotta come on my show sometime. We can talk.
anytime.
We'll talk Red, talk Bengals. I think this is a great time in Cincinnati sports. We got the Bengals playing good. The Reds are taking off. FC Cincinnati's playing right now. I'm gonna go check them out. Hopefully they scored. That's the only thing I hate about soccer. It takes so long to score. So I don't know. But I mean, we got winning franchises here in Cincinnati. I mean, like I said, I'm 48 years old. This is the golden age of Cincinnati sports, I think.
They're up 1-0 right now.
Ooh, there you go.
41st
go.
minute. Toronto FC. Toronto's pretty. They're pretty weak squad. So
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it on here. When
Yeah.
we rolling out of here.
Tim, final thoughts?
Just that I'm really sorry that you guys didn't have Greg and you had me this week to fill in, and you didn't get to learn as much about football as you did when Greg's around.
Well, there's plenty of time for that when there's actual football to really talk about outside of like underwear. Underwear football. At least
Olympics
that
right
half
now.
the time.
Yeah, actually, it's not, they're not even do that now. They're all gone. There's nothing.
Yeah, exactly. They're gone and on vacation and out in
What is it? 1, 2, 3.
Cancun
Cabo.
on 3.
Yeah, Cabo and 3.
Yeah,
Cancun.
Cancun on 3.
Cancun on 3. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're Cancun and we'll see them in a month or so. But guys, this was a blast. Jeff, I appreciate you coming on. This was really fun. Tim, as always, you guys rock. Any questions, thoughts, concerns, please email us, team@riverfrontcincy.com. We are on Twitter. We are on TikTok. Tim is on MySpace.
MySpace? That's still a thing?
I don't know. I mean,
I'm the last surviving member.
Yeah. Guys, if you guys don't watch Jeff's show, Strawberry Ice, Sports with Strawberry Ice, dude he is absolutely so passionate about all things sports. Has a good time. It was a blast being on there. You ever invite me? You ever need a guest? Again, I am there anytime.
Oh, I'm going to hit you up. I'm going to hit you up. I'll hit Tim up. Chad, I'm going to get Chad on one of these days. He said he was moving. That's why he said.
He's got stuff going on for a couple weeks, and then he's
I'm an honorary member of the Riverfront now, so I got to get you guys all on my show too. So we'll figure it all out.
Jeff is our Dusty Rhodes of the NWO.
Yeah, set on Plumber, baby. Let's go.
We need to get you a Sell the Team Bob T-shirt. So
that sounds good to me. I'm all for it. Ain't gonna happen, but I'm for it.
Guys, I had a blast. Everyone, till next time.